Welcome, everyone. This is the meeting of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. It's Monday, September 8th, 2025. I'm Donna Caloria. I'm the chair of this meeting. I have my colleagues to the right, Councilor George Russell, Councilor Jenny Pasilia, and we have AJ Pottle, who's going to do the clerking for this meeting. So the first thing is, could we have, Mr. Pottle, can we please have in attendance, can we call attendance?
Thank you,
Please.
Madam Chair. Councilors Pasillo,
Here.
Russell,
Here.
and Chairperson Councilor Calorio.
Here.
Thank you.
Could you please read the call-in information, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, in order to ensure active public engagement, the City of Worcester currently allows for both in-person and remote participation at all of its meetings. To partake in the meeting, you may attend in person or join via Zoom. The Zoom link is listed on the Granicus public search portal for this meeting. And if you would like to dial by phone, that phone number is 1-646-828-7666. And the access code is 160-290-1903. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And the next item would be a vote to approve the minutes, please.
Councilors
I'm
Pasillo.
sorry, from December 11th, 2023.
Councilors
Okay.
Pasillo,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Calorio.
Yes, okay. On this, at this meeting, at this time, we have one agenda item. Mr. Pottle, could you read the agenda item, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Order of Councilor Merrill Carlson, Councilor Donna M. Calorio, Councilor Jenny Pasillo, Councilor Morris A. Bergman, Councilor Atel Hajii, Councilor Christian E. King, Councilor Louis A. Ojeda, Councilor George J. Russell, Councilor Kathleen M. Toomey, and Mayor Joseph M. Petty, request the Committee on Public Service and Transportation hold a meeting to discuss the status of the cable franchise negotiations with Charter Spectrum and its impact on WCCA TV.
Okay, thank you. So I know Mauro is going to make a presentation here, and he's going to talk to us about a few things. Does anybody in the audience do they want to wait till we go through the presentation? All three of you say yes? Okay. Okay, I was going to say if you were rushed for time and you wanted to say something beforehand, I'd take it beforehand. Okay, great. So Mauro, why don't you introduce yourself and what your title is, and why don't you begin on your presentation, and then we'll go to some questions and discussions.
Thank you.
Is it green?
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. I appreciate that Mayor Petty had positioned a chair for this committee so business can move forward. Primarily, I'm here to ask that the City Council would ask the city manager to refrain from signing any new contract with Charter until the City Council and also the PEG channels, all the members of the PEG channels, have a chance to look at it. And also that I think the city manager, I request that the city manager release the consultant reports that were put together during the ascertainment period. The decline in franchise funding is devastating to WCCA TV, its mission, capacity, and its resources. And that's why I'm grateful to have this opportunity. It takes more than 2 minutes, like a city council meeting generally would, to discuss this. And we asked you, as I said earlier, to join us in asking the city manager not to sign the contract until we have a chance to look at it and consider it. Please consider exactly and uniquely what WCCA TV brings to the table. First of all, it provides individual learning and media literacy, television arts and science. It's a career pathway for communications, television medium, television production, development. It's also TV and radio engineering and more at the hands of each member of our community, or anyone who wants to participate. It's well-equipped studio space to create and develop skills of visual in the visual craft of TV. It provides a friendly space to discuss and share stories that connect us all, news, information, including views and opinions about things that are important to all members of the community. And we're talking real equity when I say this. A place to inform and elevate all who watch and participate. It's a vital tool to mobilizing community. WCCA is a free speech platform dedicated to express life experiences. Its content gives hope, meaning, and holds up human dignity, countering the commercial values that run traditional TV these days. WCCA TV is a public access community media center. It serves as an invaluable platform for free speech, all inclusion, and participatory platform. You'll hear diverse voices, stories, and views. WCCA does. What it does is it provides true free speech, free from corporate retribution and political whim. WCCA offers a place for youth through seniors to enjoy hands-on learning, provide a network that informs and forms bridges between all sorts of people and their background. It shines a spotlight on everything local, including religious expression, LGBTQ+ events, views and opinions, entertainment, social causes, civic, voter education, self-help guides, and so much more. We put these tools in the hands of the people. They can choose to be interviewers and hone their interviewing skill. They can choose to be TV technicians and learn how to use this and apply for jobs. We've seen this happen over and over again. It's a media center that places community in front of and behind the camera, and frankly, no one else does that. This is something that's unique in our city and in most cities that have public access. We do something that no one else is really doing. So I think that's important to consider. Consider how diminished cable funding will impact our community at large. It's going to be a loss of a venue for true unrestricted street speech. It'll be a loss for transparency in government and institutional accountability, a loss of a fair and level media playing field, a loss of community empowerment, voices, and advocacy. It'll be a loss for digital equity in the city. It'll be a loss for state-of-the-art virtual common creative spaces, including TV, film, pre- and post-production studios. It's a loss of hands-on experiential learning. It's a loss of physical, historical, curated video archiving. It's a loss for the unique career pathway. And it stands for, WCCA TV stands for, as an institution, that stands for media, democracy, and creative innovation. We're here because we don't want to see the channel go dark. Excuse me for a second. The negotiations have took about 3 years. It's still going as far as we know. The city manager at one of the city council meetings said, when asked the question, what can WCCA TV do? He said they can think out of the box. During the ascertainment period, the cable advisory spoke favorably about WCCA, as it did the other PEG channels as well. It recognized the fact that we're going to need additional funding due to the decline of cable subscribers. However, we've exhausted pretty much all the opportunities that are there. I'm not saying 100% all, but mostly all. And we're looking to see how we might find a solution and a remedy. We have some ideas still, but the idea of not knowing, the uncertainty of where this contract is going right now, it hurts us and it doesn't give us a chance to really plan substantially. Currently, right now, the steady declining in franchise fees to support WCCA TV is over $500,000. We're in the red over $500,000, and what we should be doing at this state in our operation. And this dwindling of revenues eventually is going to get into our contingency funds. Once that gets into our contingency funds, it's going to trigger emergency action. So I need to know what we're going to do. There's no franchise renewal capital right now. Our capital grant has run out 2 years ago. And we spent that money on all our equipment, and right now, everything we have is well over 10 years old, most of it. The vital equipment, our studio, our control rooms, our playback room, our edit suites, our internal network, all have to be replaced. There's no doubt about it. Our fleet of cameras that people take out into the field to shoot needs to be replaced and upgraded. Our software systems need to be upgraded. Our computers need to be upgraded. without capital grant provisions, we can't do that. We can't move forward. So the uncertainty, what is the city's goal for the franchise renewal and support for WCCA TV? I need to know. How can we plan? We're basically in limbo. I have 2 people that retire. I can't replace them. I have to sit there, wait. We have to put a freeze on buying new equipment right now. This is how it's affecting us now. And we haven't even received what next year's funding is gonna be yet. So that could be substantially lower if it were basing it on cable subscribers. And I have no idea what's happening. I asked, but we're told, it's ongoing. So that's why I'm here. And, you have, the information you have is pretty much all there. You'll see. Since 2016, there's been a decline, a slow decline in funding. And we're down to about half of what we had back then.
Counselor Russell, do you have a question or two?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Madam Chair, first of all, through you, tomorrow, how much were we talking about last year for total revenue from this contract? And how much did you get in the current year that you're operating in yet now? And how about, just for a comparison
Yeah.
from what you're working with now versus the year before it?
You're talking about $40,000 difference.
So
From
how
one
much
year
is
to
the
the
total,
next.
though?
So here's what I was looking for. The needs of the station, the equipment needs of the station, right now,
I'm asking what, through you, Madam Chair, I'm asking what you had for a budget last year versus the year before, or this.
Right.
What
What was the revenue income you're talking about?
The year you're working in right now.
yeah. So you're looking at a difference of last year, $660,036 was our annual revenue from the city provision. This year, it's 621.
So about 10% or something like that, close to it?
Yeah, but that's been dropping consistently over the years.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, through you to the city solicitor, this contract, first of all, do we have a contract? Did the manager execute something that we don't know about yet?
Through the chair, no, we're still negotiating a renewal
Okay,
license.
good. So, and my hope, as one member of the council, would be that there wouldn't be a contract executed until there was a discussion with the council about what was involved in that. But that could only be a wish because of the way the form of government is that we have and the way it is. But I've said it to the previous manager, and I said it personally to this manager and publicly to this manager. That's what I would be hoping for. The public access fee that is generated, it comes off of the fees only for the cable television service, not for any internet service or telephone services or anything else, correct? Through you?
Through the chair, I'd have to defer to Judy.
Maybe Judy could answer?
Through the chair to Council Russell, yes, that's correct. It's only on cable television revenues.
Okay.
And that's where the decline
Okay.
is.
So, and again, I think this is well above the 10% rule, so I could talk about my own personal thing, and it wouldn't fall under any conflict of interest, because everybody, there's such a large number of people that we have, and if there isn't, stop me from talking, and I'll run out of the room and recuse myself. But my understanding is, because at my house, we went from watching TV on a cable box to watching TV on an app. So through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Warren or to the solicitor, would that fee for watching, that fee disappear because it's not on the cable service?
Correct.
Okay. So I got something for you to talk about through you, Madam Chair, during a negotiation, because it's still on my bill. And I don't have a cable box anymore, and I don't watch anything, on the cable. I watch it on an app over the internet, and there's still a public access fee on the bill. So it's being collected And if the cable company is telling the city negotiators that there's no money there, when in fact they're collecting it from us, it's just as bad as when the cable company is telling consumers that there's no senior discount, when the senior discount was in the contract that they signed last time. So I hope that the administration would hold their feet to the fire on this, because in my eyes, that is still there, whether it, I'm still watching, whatever I'm watching, I'm on the same TV. It might not come in the same way because it comes in over the internet, but they're still charging that public access fee. And if they're still charging and they're still collecting it, then the next question is, why aren't we getting that service? And then as we've come to learn how to run the app, even though the app is probably more convenient, you can watch it in more rooms and that kind of stuff. But the reality is that for watching some of these city programs that are available through public access, that's not necessarily available, but they're still charging for it. So they're not providing that service, but they're still taking the money. And funny enough, they're providing public access from other communities on that app. So if you look at channel, what number are we, Mara? 193, I think?
194, we should be
You're 194.
seeing regional too.
But what is the city council meetings on and that kind of stuff? Is that
191.
Okay, so if you have the app and you look to those stations, the 190 whatevers, there are public access things there, and no disrespect to you, Mauro, or to your
We're not there.
fine programming, but sometimes I'm watching and thinking I'm watching something from Worcester and something from Maine or from wherever. And so they're still charging for public access, and they still have that service, but they're not allowing our programs from Worcester on that, and they're still collecting the money and telling the city administration that it's not there to pass along to CCA or to any of the other services we've used it for. So, Madam Chair, those are my comments and questions. Thank you.
So I have a couple questions, and Council, you'll have a couple of questions as well. Okay, just to go a little bit further on what Council Russell was saying, does anybody know that, can you voluntarily contribute to public access TV? Can you make that contribution without having, like, Council Russell doesn't have cable anymore, so he is just using, he's cut the cord, like a lot of us have, but can we still contribute to, I wonder if it's a way we can still contribute, I'm not sure.
Through the chair, I would have to look into that and get a report, but Ms. Moran says that you can, it's a nonprofit, you can contribute, you can, give a donation, but I'm not sure if there's some form, like a box that you can check off on your bill that you would be able to donate to them.
So, yeah, if we can get a report on that, because my thought was if, I cut the cord as well, but if there was they allowed me to make the same I don't even know what the amount was we were contributing. Does anybody know the amount, approximately?
It's under $1.
Well, it varies depending on the number of subscribers it's divided across. So it was, the more subscribers you have, the less you pay.
Right.
So now that they've dropped, your PEG fee goes up to cover the cost of the previous renewal for the capital improvements and such. I want to say it's about $5, $6.
A month?
But it depends on the number
Okay.
of subscribers. It varies
Right,
per
okay.
person.
I get it, I don't want to hold you to.
Yeah.
So I think outside the box. Councilor Russell, it's a really good point that I'm sure, I would continually contribute myself personally, and I'm sure, other people would as well. So, it might be an option, but we'd have to find out if we have to make sure that the money is going to the right source. It's not just being absorbed in a slush fund. It has to be, earmarked to, cable news and TV and all those different things, so we can, make sure that it works. The other thing I wanted to ask is,
Through the chair, I'm sorry.
oh, sure.
On your previous question, WCCA is a nonprofit registered with the state in federal, I don't know, with the 501c, all those letters. So I'm not a financial person, but you can contribute directly to them. I wouldn't go through the cable company to make contributions to PEG. You contribute to PEG with your cable bill.
So, I mean,
So I would contribute directly to them.
I hear you, and thank you. That, I mean, for us, that's easy to do, like, we understand that, but I mean, people that may find it, more convenient to continually make the payment through the cable and have them allocate it back, maybe would be an option. That's what I'm just asking,
Yeah, I don't believe there's a vehicle for that to happen, specifically, like if you pay extra on your cable bill, that you can say, I want that to go to PEG. I mean, I'll research and find out if that's something that can be done, but currently, that's
there-
not a vehicle that can be done.
Right, so but according to Councilor Russell, they're already collecting it anyway, so to
Yes.
make sure, if people are having it taken out now, and to be honest with you, I didn't realize it. I'm sure, some of us didn't realize it as well. And now it's like, well, if they're already collecting it, that's fine with me. People might just continually just say, just keep on collecting it. But to make sure that that money goes back to WCCA, that they're getting the money, that they're getting the revenues, and not, being cut off with that.
Yeah.
Mara?
Through the chair. The city and state do take taxes out, so on your bill, you see that there are taxes here. And it's on the city breakdown. So they do take taxes. What I would, this cable company's not gonna encourage people to donate to WCCA TV, because in their minds, they would rather not have PEG channels, they would rather use those channels for something else. But, and we have to remember here, people are cutting the cord to cable because the service has been so bad. They're fed up with it, so they cut it. They're not really cutting the cord on TV, you're watching TV, it's just on an app.
Okay.
It's just a delivery. Is it UPS or is it the post office? It's the same thing, it's a difference, it's still a package, still a mail, right? Senator Moore is trying to fight this in Boston, trying to get state legislation to change, to rectify that, so that the apps, where the market is going is that the app type of TV viewing is just replacing the channels. You still see commercials, you still see everything, but if you don't want to see the commercials, you can pay a little bit more. If you only want to see a little bit of a commercial, you can pay this price. So it's just it's a new game, but it's still the same in the end. We're delivering something to the city. We're on the same team. We're here to help the people of Worcester, to empower them. That's what you're here for, too, to make sure they get their justice and do what they should do. But the cable company has not been, I really feel that we should be at the table with the negotiation. There are people making negotiations and making decisions that really don't have much idea of what our day-to-day is involved in and what's really involved. And I think there are other ways besides, if you want to offer a way to opt out of paying, maybe they can do that, but I would include it in the bill. I would include it and not take it out unless the customer wanted to take it out. I mean, that opt-in, opt-out kind of thing is something that it might be worth considering. But the city also, it has a PEG INET that it collects annually, statically, $477,000. Could some of that money be used? I'm not really sure what it's used for right now. Maybe some of that can be used to help our mission during this critical time. PEG administration, and I know that the cable director has worked in helping increase the funds last year as well. There's a cable administrative fee that's based on a percentage of the annual revenue. The last count that I had was $162,000. Could some of that be used to help the PEG operation? Increasing our portion of, the money is divided among the school channel, the government channel, and public access channel. We have the overhead that the other channels don't have. We have space and building, and we're dealing with the whole entire community. We're not just dealing with City Hall or just school. We're doing all of that as well. We have colleges that participate as well. So maybe increase the amount of money that we get. We used to get more, and then it was decreased back in 2006. Given the financial, I know that there was talk of a fourth channel, but I would strongly recommend that not happen, because it's not advantageous at this time for anything that I can see. Is it possible to use city block grant funding for that? Is this something we can apply for? Can the city create an item to subsidize? I know from when we look at the Treasury report on page 250, was it 251? My eyes are bad. It appears that the city subsidizes some of what the government channel does, and that's great. But we don't have that benefit. And we're doing more today with less staff, less money. But what we don't have that's less is the cost, an increase of expenses. And I'm not even talking about salaries for staff. We got three major areas that are hurting right now for us, and that's the staff expense, the building and repair, and then the vital equipment that I mentioned earlier.
Counselor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a few questions. In regards to the charter contract negotiations, through the chair to Madam Solicitor, how long is this going to take?
Through the chair, I'm not exactly sure how much longer. It's been going on for a couple of years now. So I think, I would hope, I'm not going to give you a timeline because I'm just not sure. There's about 3 remaining issues that we're negotiating, and they're pretty substantial issues, so.
Is the senior citizen discount going to be, will people be refunded?
Through the chair, I'm not sure there's a practical way to do that just because of the history of, people who have not received that and how that's going to happen. There wouldn't really be a way to capture everyone who didn't receive the discount or received a portion of it and at what time they stopped receiving those funds to be able to give them a direct refund.
Thank you. And through the chair to Madam Solicitor, is there, in the negotiations, so they can't give the senior citizen discount back to people, and I can understand why that would be kind of tedious, but are they going to do anything to make it right? Because for, I think it was 10 years, senior citizens couldn't get their discount. And I remember I put this on last year, and I called to see where the senior citizen discount was, and Charter told me there was none. So even though it was publicly known that there was one, and they said, oh yeah, we're so sorry, we'll put it back on, they still weren't. So I just don't understand.
Through the chair, my understanding is that we are one of the last municipalities that even had that clause in there. So we have not decided yet whether that's still going to go moving forward, and if it's going to be a modified version of whether, whoever was receiving the discount would be grandfathered in. There's still talks about how that's going to look going forward. Nothing's been determined yet.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mr. De Pasquale, how much is the estimated cost for replacing your equipment that needs replacing?
Right now, it's over $800,000. That's just just to replace what we currently have. We would love to upgrade, redo our lighting system, redo some of our audio systems and monitors, but just to replace what we have now, about over 800. I think it's about 830.
And then you'd be set for a period of time, for like a
For
longer
about maybe
period of
6
time.
years. The stuff that isn't made to last these days.
Yeah. And then through the chair, I'm not sure who could answer this, but who determines the amount that Charter contributes?
It's law, federal law.
It's federal law? So if you want to say, okay, Charter's we could take a portion of our internet bill, right? Because I get internet through Charter, and it's terrible, it's absolutely awful, but that's the only choice. So no portion of my bill, it can't be changed to go to public access. It would have to be through the federal government.
Oh, I don't know. I thought when you were talking about, the city as far as I know, the law might be different now, but through the chair, the city can request up to 5% of the gross annual revenue. As of 2000, I think 24 is what the numbers I have here, if I'm not mistaken. It was over $31 million. So the city would get its 5% of that, plus ad sales on cable.
I have one last question through the chair. What would happen with the video archive? Where would it go?
Well, some of it can possibly remain online somewhere, but eventually it would just get lost in the cloud somewhere. Everything we do, we archive it, we go through that process, and we save it. And it's on certain servers in our facility, and it's also out in other areas. We have some that are on archive.org, others on Google, so they're out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Council Russell?
Madam Chair, just to clarify, through you to either Ms. Warren or the solicitor, the money that's generated in the fees that come back to the city are for only watching cable TV on a cable box. Is that correct? The fees that are due to the city as part of that contract, maybe the solicitor, but is it, in other words, if I'm watching it, like I said, I'm watching it on a Spectrum app, that wouldn't apply, correct? Or if I'm watching it on YouTube, that wouldn't work either, or anything.
Correct. If I understand the question through the chair, anything that's done through streaming, we do not receive any revenues
Okay.
from. I would like to talk with you after the meeting on exactly your situation to confirm, because if you have the Zumo box,
Yeah.
that is still streaming using the internet, but Charter, I have asked Charter
Yeah.
about the Zumo box, and we do get the revenue from that
Zumo box.
for cable TV only.
Okay, well, I don't want to just talk about my own situation, but I think that my situation is probably typical of everyone else in my neighborhood and everyone else in my district and in the whole city. So that's why I'm going to address it. But I've got a thing called a phone here, and it's got the Spectrum app, because I pay for Spectrum TV watching on the Spectrum app. When I sit in my living room, I have a Roku TV, and I click on the app on the Roku, and it goes on Spectrum, and I can watch NBC, CBS, HBO, whatever all the different stations that I pay for, that I pay Spectrum to watch, but instead of watching it through a cable box on that one old TV, I'm watching it through an app on a Roku TV or on any other smart TV, or even on my telephone. And then here on this, you see Dan Reedy there from Channel 1 with the local news, right, on the top,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because that's the station, right? And this is the Worcester service, and it happened to be able to watch it through my telephone. At Channel 194, there's a thing called WCCA TV. Says you're playing the Sunday Mass now. I don't know if you are, in fact, playing the Sunday Mass. It won't let me log on to it here because it tells me to go home to my home base, on my home internet to be able to see it.
So
But it'll
you're
let
seeing
me.
a delayed
Yeah, so
video.
and then it says local programming at 191 and 192, and that's, even at my home, I know that those local programming haven't been the local stuff that I would have hoped them to be, but this is why the operator at the billing department at Spectrum is telling me that I'm still paying for that because I'm still getting public access service. It might be public access for some town in Maine. It might be public access, well, I'm thinking I'm getting WCCA. I haven't really watched it lately. I apologize for not watching it as of late, but according to this, WCCA TV is on Channel 194 on the app. So, but these things, even though they met us through their contract from Worcester, those would not generate any revenue for this contract. Is that correct, Madam Solicitor?
Through the chair, currently they do not.
Okay, so how do we get around that then? Because that's the way of the world, and otherwise, you're gonna have declining revenue not only with WCCA, but with everything else coming into the city. And, I don't know, I mean, obviously, if you're watching stuff on some other application, like a YouTube TV or this service or that service, that's completely different. But Spectrum is where, you know, it's the same wire that's running on our telephone poles and through the underground in my neighborhood coming in that the city of Worcester gave the easements on. And that service is just going into an internet box. And then we're watching it through the internet as opposed to watching it directly on the cable box. But it's still the same wire that the city gave the easement for. It's still the same company or their you know, their appointee or designate they sold it to. So how do we get around it, or can we not get around it? Through you, Madam Chair.
Through the chair, it is very, excuse me, a very complex industry. But the basic gist of it is the cable is federal law that allows the companies, they have to negotiate with municipalities. Streaming was declared several times, internet, as a non-cable item. So that's why, as Mr. DePasquale had mentioned, that Senator Moore got an item, well, he's working on a thing so that we could get the revenues from streaming, because it looks like a duck, acts like a duck. It is a duck, and we should be getting those revenues. But it's being argued, and I would encourage everyone to contact Senator Moore, and if you agree with the proposal, to have them advocate for those revenues, because Amazon, Netflix, YouTube, all of those do get the benefit of going over that very same line that feeds your home. Even if you get it wireless in your home, you're still getting that hard line from Charter, and, you know, we're losing out on those revenues as people are leaving hardwired, even though they're hardwired.
Madam
It's
Chair,
very complex.
The reality is, I'm old enough to remember when the cable companies came to town, and when they came to town, we basically gave them their easement. We gave them the rights to go up and down the streets and hook up to everything with the understanding that they're gonna give us that little bit of revenue to help fund these other services. And it's still coming over those wires. Now, if I had a box from T-Mobile or from Verizon, and I was watching one of their services through that, and it had nothing to do with the wires, I'd say, well, yeah, you know, they beat the system, they went around it, it's a new technology. But they're still using those same easements to provide, to generate revenue for their company. And the worst part is they're collecting it. They're putting it on our bill. But then they're telling the city on the other side, they're collecting it from the residents of the city saying, oh, well, we're gonna pay for public access. And then they're, on the other side, they're saying, well, there's no public access because they're not watching on an old cable box. They're watching on a new smart TV or on their phone or whatever. But at the end of the day, it comes over the easements. And that's maybe the route that we need to go. And I really believe, Madam Chair, that the city should look at, and maybe a chairman's order, and if the city won't do it, maybe there's a private attorney that's listening to us today, that this should be a lawsuit, quite frankly, for senior citizens in this city, that they were due a discount all these years, and Spectrum and Charter have not given it, and they're just saying, oh, that's your problem, you know? Yeah. So I would hope that, I don't know if the city would take that on and on behalf of the residents, or if it would have to be a private company or a class action thing, but it's really not fair what they're doing. Madam Chair, thank you.
Mauro?
No, I wanted to add to that the city hired a specialist attorney, and the city solicitor's done a great job. Mike Trainer, too, in the past, has done a great job with this. The attorney, Jerry Lederer, is an outstanding, known nationally as an expert in the field. I'm not sure what he has contributed to this because we're just not part of the loop. But one of the questions I had was, you know, why was Charter even audited? They should be, I gotta do an audit tomorrow. We got an independent audit coming to the station tomorrow. $14,000 it cost me, that I don't have. So I gotta pay $14,000 to have an audit, because we have an agreement with the city, and we're glad to honor it. But did they get through the chair, through the city solicitor, do you know if they were audited? Because a lot of times they found, I understand, a lot of times when they have been audited, they were found to not be totally transparent.
Through the chair, I can't speak to that, but I would just let you know that Jerry is still our lead outside counsel on the matter, so we have retained that. He's a specialist in that area, so
So they haven't been audited?
I'm not sure. I don't know that.
Can I say something?
we go to the audience?
Oh, can I say one thing?
Sorry. Go ahead, Counselor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think one of the most frustrating things about this, right? Charter Communications is a $36 billion company and I know I always do this, but it's just ridiculous. In 2024, the CEO made $5.75 million, and I don't understand why there's no way for senior citizens to get a discount, and there's no way Morrow and his TV station can't get any extra money out of this company that has bad customer service, poor quality service, and this keeps happening with the utilities where we're just like, okay, it is what it is. So that's more of a statement, not a question. It's ridiculous to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I go to the audience? You can come up to the microphone, just state your name and city of residence and your comments, please.
Matthew Corey, Worcester, Massachusetts. I don't work for WCCA TV, but I have a show on WCCA TV, Sketch Worcester, local comedy show, where we have a cast of 8 members, 12 guest stars, all local. All these people who are on the show are local actors, local performers. We make fun, we poke fun at issues around the city of Worcester in a lighthearted way. For example, the episode that's currently airing right now has a Ukrainian artist who paints pictures of Worcester. We have another sketch where an out-of-town driver gets lost in the Kelly Square Peanut, as you can imagine, and even the band Kiss comes and plays at the Palladium in another one of our sketches. So we have a lot of fun with issues in the city, but the real truth is that none of this would be possible without WCCA TV. They've been enormously helpful and encouraging with the staff that they have. And if you've been to that station, Morrow's absolutely correct. The equipment is old. The funding just isn't there. I mean, as an example, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. You can get better camera quality on the phone in your pocket, better video quality than some of the cameras he has at that station, than most of the cameras he has at that station, because the funding isn't there. It's discouraging. There are things I ask for that just aren't there. Better lighting, a boom mic. None of this can be afforded. There are weeks when the studio goes dark because there's not enough staff to cover those weeks. There are issues that just break my heart because every show on TV is in high definition, except for WCCA. Why is this happening? The money is there. But as we've been talking about, the money is tied to cable revenue, which makes no sense in this day and age. Everyone's dropping cable. I don't know anybody at this point who still subscribes to cable. It's all through the internet. And yet, for some reason, our laws are saying only the cable revenue gets put to WCCA TV. I think we're all in agreement. That just doesn't make sense in this day and age. So I think something has to be written into that contract with Charter Spectrum. As Morrow said, The station's been losing money for 10 straight years, year over year over year, and it shows. Charter has so much money they're collecting from internet revenues. Everyone in this city is stuck. I know it's not technically a monopoly, but it's a virtual monopoly. If you want internet in this city, you pretty much have to go through Charter. And everything is online these days. Everything. And so tying WCCA revenue to only cable just doesn't make any sense, and we need to have cable representation. We need to have citizens have a voice in this community. I can speak from experience. People I have on the show. In this last episode, I've got probably 20, 30 people from the area on the show. They love it. It brings a community together. Not just the people on screen for my particular TV show. I've got people behind the scenes, writers, camera crew, and it brings the whole community together. And if you take that voice away, if you take the ability to communicate within the community away, then bad things happen. We know that. We need to keep community TV. We need to keep the funding for that. And it breaks my heart to go down to that station and see equipment falling apart, see staff just taking weeks off, and just to see just the lack of commitment from Charter Spectrum, things that should be so easy to do from their end, putting the station in high definition, giving a program guide for shows that air on there, even giving just what are the figures for people actually watching this station? They have figures for every single station. They could tell you, but they don't. These are such simple, simple things for Charter Spectrum to do. This should all be in the contract. The funding for WCCA TV should be reverted back to not just 2016 levels, but above that. Charter's got the money. You mentioned $36 billion. They've got easements to every city, to every single house, business, neighborhood in the entire city. They've got a right of way to that. They've got a virtual monopoly. And they are taking money away? It just doesn't make sense. So yes, I'm here just to absolutely recommend with the highest possible recommendation that the city gets in that contract with Charter. They should fund this not adequately, extraordinarily. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Come on up to the mic. Can you just state your name and city of residence, please?
My name is Michael Coogan. I'm the Development Officer for WCCA TV.
Okay.
Through the chair, thank you for your comments, because when I started, I just couldn't understand why, 8 years ago, I couldn't understand the difference between cable and streaming. But the FCC, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody else would have better information. The FCC ruled that the cable is using rights of way along the streets or on the, above or below. Whereas internet goes through the air. There is no actual right of way that they're using. Now, Councilor Russell, if you're getting charged for that, it's wrong, in my opinion. I didn't know that. And you shouldn't be. Based on their statement that internet doesn't use rights of way. It just goes through the air this way, that way, that way. So, but more to the point of funding, I'm in charge of doing the fundraising, writing grants and things. And the FCC Charter couldn't tell us who's watching, how many people, when. They just said they didn't have that information. I found it hard to believe then, and I find it harder even now, even more so. But, so recently with the lack of, the drop in funding, I've been relying more on writing grants. And every single grant representative or foundation representative, every single one asked me, okay, we can help you this year. We can give you whatever, 200, 100, 150,000. What are you going to do next year to help yourselves? Without a number. a strategic plan or a budget, because these foundations want your budget. It's impossible. It's not just difficult, it's impossible to do. You don't want to say we're going to do $200,000, and all of a sudden it's $100,000 from cable. Or the other way around, and then you're just going to think that we're concealing something. But it's not the case. We don't have the information we need to go out and try and raise money effectively. And it's been a long time. Mauro and I used to go to cable advisory committee meetings every single month. Judy, you were there. And I don't know, it feels almost like it was kind of a waste of time, because that committee was disbanded, I think, wasn't it? But you're almost stuck in a place where I can't go out and defend a $150,000 ask to the Alden Foundation or Fletcher Foundation or Fuller or any of them, because I don't have any confidence in those numbers, and I've been doing this for longer than I want to admit to, but over 40 years. I don't do it that way. I want accurate information going to these people if you're asking them for that type of funding. Otherwise, the next time you go to them, good luck. It's just about, like I said, impossible. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, come on up.
Hello, I'm Adam Rice, Worcester, Massachusetts. I work at WCCA-TV. I produce a good dozen programs, I'd say 7 or 8 on a regular basis, week or every other week basis, and then a handful more seasonally. And we're getting real good information out to the people of Worcester. I run a program with former Mayor Constantino Lukes. I run former State Senator Harriet Chandler's show. These are important figures from Worcester that are communicating to their audience. And this is a service we provide to the city that isn't otherwise being met. I guess I'm pretty cynical about our ability, or the council's ability, to negotiate a contract that would be a viable, see a viable future for the station. It seems like if there's only the legal requirements for Charter to pay based on cable subscriptions, as long as that's the only legal requirement that they need to meet, I don't see how we'll be able to renegotiate something that is viable. I don't know. What is the city council or local government able to? How are we able to negotiate if it isn't required by state or federal law?
Question.
Okay, does anybody else have anything? Councilor Russell?
Madam Chair, just to respond to the last speaker, if I may, just so that folks understand, the City Council is not directly involved with this. We can offer suggestions to the manager, we can offer recommendations to the manager, but at the end of the day, the manager is able to and responsible for renewing the contract. When I was first elected, well, I've been here now almost 14 years, not the previous city manager, but the manager before that, renewed that contract on his way out the door as he was leaving. He had already said he was moving on to another career, and he renewed the contract, and the council wasn't even consulted with it. And in the past, the council has been very vocal to the previous city manager and to this current city manager as far as wanting community input. And that's where we are now. The manager, I think, is doing a good job as far as keeping the city council informed, keeping the public informed, hiring the right staff as far as getting a specialized attorney to try and negotiate the best terms under the federal laws that he's dealing with. So that's basically the way it works, just so people understand. But, Madam Chair, I would suggest a couple of chairman's orders with your permission, if you'd like.
Sure.
One would be that the city manager consider refilling that cable advisory committee as soon as possible, because it's, we don't have that committee in action now. And he makes every effort to fill that with new people or have conversations with the people that were on it before and see if they have an interest in coming back if new people are not available. But that's his decision of who goes there. But I would encourage a chairman's order just asking the manager to consider expediting the filling of that committee. That's number one. And then the second chairman's order, Madam Chairman, would be for the city manager to provide a report as to how many years the easements, physical easements on the streets are for. In other words, are those easements something that were forever? Or are they easements that had, like a lease kind of deal where they've got any money? But I mean, there's probably thousands of easements. We vote on them almost at every city council meeting as they come along. And maybe, as hard as it sounds, because there's been a conversation in the public about when those items come in, just hold them and not grant any more easements. Well, we could do that, but if we do that, then we're just basically saying to the people that want that service in that immediate area that they're not going to get it. So that's the problem. But I would think that it comes down to one thing, and I'm not talking about, like I said, T-Mobile service or Verizon or something that just comes from a satellite. I'm talking about the physical wires that go over our streets and over our public properties, and provide a report as to what, if anything, there is in those easements and what could be done to renegotiate them if possible. Maybe there's nothing. If there's nothing that we can do, I guess we have to chalk it up as a bad decision in previous years that we didn't have the foresight to look forward. But if it's, it's really not right when the city gives an easement to provide a physical presence in the way of that wire over those poles and over those streets, and yet we're not able to collect the revenue that we thought we were going to see on it over the years. So I'd like to see a report to see if those easements could be looked at one by one, and if they have any way of renegotiating any of them. Madam Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. So let me add a couple more chairman's orders to that. And I just want to say that, we definitely have a revenue problem here in to try to think outside the box and to try to think of what we can contribute as a city council. Like my colleague said, we've been very much on this in voicing our opinions through I know since the time I've been on at least. But and then I'll go to Mauro. I know you have a hand up.
Thank you.
This is kind of in rough form, so explore or maybe have a report on the billing process to make sure that the monies that are being taken out, out for, the WCCA and other of the, the network there, is taken out and is being allocated properly and to the right source. Explore maybe different funding sources like the city block grant program. Explore letting WCCA at the negotiation table when we're negotiating the contract. Explore the possibilities for the senior, to get the refund for the seniors, as Councilor Placilla said, that has been long overdue for the time period that they said that there was no senior discount, which there was. Maybe explore, or maybe a report on if Charter has been audited recently, when they have been audited, and explore the possibilities of WCCA getting a portion of the internet revenues. And I know that's more of a state thing, but maybe get a report on that and maybe update us on the Senator Moore's bill. Councilor, do you have some thoughts on that too?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I do have two thoughts. So one, and I'm happy, to look into the block grants. But obviously, the city's budget is tight and Charters is not. So I think that they should be paying for this. But through the chair, probably to Madam Solicitor, is Charter considered a utility? So would it go through the Department of Public Utilities?
Through the chair, no, they're, regulated by the FCC and the Telecommunications Act.
Okay, thank you. And Madam Chair, maybe with the senior citizen discount, could you throw something on there along the lines of, if they can't give people money back, can they make some kind of donation? Yeah, like, or to the senior center or to TV, whatever, just to find a place, because it is so unacceptable that this happened and it just continues to happen, and it's really frustrating. Thank you.
Yeah, if we can add that on to the one about the seniors getting a refund, we can add what Counselor just asked for as well. Mauro, did you have more to add to?
I just wanted to react to what George had said earlier through the chair regarding refilling the cable advisory. I think it's a great idea. There should be somebody looking at it throughout the whole 10-year contract. That should happen, not just when it's time to renew. But I think doing that right now, going back to a cable advisory when negotiations have already started, I think it will slow things up a bit. Also, we found very frustrating is that people who volunteer at the station, who are not receiving money from us, they're just volunteers, weren't allowed to participate on the cable advisory, and I think that's unfair. I think they should be allowed. I don't think it's a conflict of interest, because that would be like saying if I was a library card holder, I can't participate on the board of the library because I have a card. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. So I think having people that actually know what's involved with the station can only help the process. It's not about, and on the other hand of it, you got the city who's also collecting money for public access for their public channels, and they're participating right in the board, they're running the board. So it doesn't seem fair and equitable to me. So I think volunteers have a right. They shouldn't be punished for being volunteers. They should have a right to participate on a cable advisory and share their opinions and their experience with it. And on the cable advisory in the last round, you had one guy who works for a company that does independent video, another one does a podcast. I don't see the difference. There's a whole story behind all of that too, and I'm not gonna get into, but I just think it's unfair to not allow WCCA volunteers to be on the cable advisory.
Do you want to add one more thing? Go ahead.
Very, very brief.
Go ahead.
To the chair, we have tried a lot of different options because we weren't told who's watching, when, how many, or anything like that. So we approached the idea with cable, and I think the city, to put an envelope in the cable bills that people could use to make a gift. And we were told they couldn't do it. Just wanted to throw that little caveat out there. And it's the cost, not just the quality. The cost just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. I forget my bill is over $220 right now. And I have Roku too. I can't convince my wife to learn the channels. So, but thank you for letting me speak again.
You're welcome. Okay. So if I have nobody, we have nobody virtual, do we, AJ?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay, so if we're all set here, I'm going to close the meeting. I'm going to thank everyone for coming and participating, a long overdue meeting. And I'm glad to see that I learned a lot. I'm sure my colleagues did too. Mr. Pottle, can you do like a roll call at the end?
Roll call to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Councilors Spasillo,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Calorio.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything.